Hey guys, welcome to our first recording of our Sunday locals, which is pretty a big deal. I only get Tuesdays off from work, so recording on Sundays is pretty unique. But I did get a pretty good schedule change, so now I actually get to record on Sundays. In this game, we have Caleb, who's playing Yubel, versus David, who has been on a Thunder Dragon kick for a while since Colossus came out. So he's just been trying to show how broken the deck is, and it is actually really strong if he can set it up correctly. So it's actually a lot of fun to kind of see the stuff that you like blast from the past if you remember how Thunder Dragons worked back in the day. It was pretty hardcore. The games on Tuesdays that we normally have, I did one recently where I just played music in the background, but a lot of my one buddy specifically, which is Caleb, told me that it's not as great. He'd rather hear what's happening, kind of a play by play, because not a lot of people just spend 40 minutes watching the screen and everything else. So yeah, that's my quick spiel about it. So getting into it, seeing how Thunder Dragon going first with David, how he can set up a pretty mean board, and pretty interesting to see how Yubel can kind of not break through it, but kind of get through as well, which is kind of fun to see. Because, end board for Thunder Dragons, you have to end on Colossus. Searching is such a big part of the game still. So just keeping everything alive and going through it is the motions to go through it to set up a unbreakable board. David's been pretty proud of that. So, but looking into it, I'm trying to record more Sunday games and Tuesday games. So going forward, we'll see if we can continue that. And I told Caleb, I was like, I'm not very good at the voiceovers, man. Like, he's like, yeah, but it's still fun. It's a lot better. So, and there you see how easy it is to get Thunder Dragon Colossus out, which is just a huge thing. So, I went to the Iowa Regional just this last weekend, actually, and I went with a 60 card Centurion pile, and I was in debate whether or not do I want to put in because you can just easily make Colossus with a corridor package, make the XYZ Banshee overlay search Nemesis flag, make sure you have two banished cards, obviously, flag effect, search corridor, and then that's just an instant Colossus. So you can get two level 4s out to make that rank 4. Now I was in debate whether or not I should leave it in or take it out, because every time I drew it, I kind of bricked. But man, I throughout that regional, as many times as I just drew corridor, not even having to make flag, not even having to make Banshee, to search flag, just ending on Colossus. People were like, yeah, I played against like maybe four Snake Eyes, and I think in one of the games I just made a Colossus. I'm like, wow, I bricked. I guess I'll just make a Colossus and an SP and pass. And they just went, wow, let's go next game. I'm like, really? Like, yeah. He showed me. He drew Bonfire. I think it was Ash. He was all search cards. He's like, I can't do anything. I was like, oh wow. Or I think it was Wanted spell as well. So he's like, I could do Wanted, but there's no point. So, but here you see David ends on the Colossus. And he is playing the branded package, which is fair because Thunder Dragons only really need to fuse. They can make links and such if they need to, but they don't actually have to. And then the Dragoon, which is still like, I remember when that card came out, it was so overpowered, and I guess it was when Anaconda was around. So just Dragoon is so good. But you can see how bad the Colossus is. Caleb uses the Imperm immediately on the Thunder Dragon because he has to search. Now, everyone is on Droplet, so it's possible he had multiple negates for it, but he does Imperm the Colossus so that he can just continue playing and searching. So we'll see if he can get through. Oh, the old Anima. The one thing that I love that everyone has pivoted to since Link Karibo is gone is the Anima. And there's nothing wrong with it either. It's a really good card. Just now, everyone has to be careful. So he does attempt to do Anima here to steal the Dragoon, which is funny because I even forgot. Dragoon cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, and he does get an Omni negate by discarding a card and popping, which is so funny. So, I mean, he does attempt to activate Anima. Doesn't obviously nothing happens, but the fact that you Link Karibo is gone, people are just pivoted to Anima, and it's so important how many people need the monster in the graveyard. I mean, even Snake Eyes summon. They used to have Link Karibo, they don't. Well, I'm gonna go to Anima now. So I'm kind of curious to see if later on down the road if Anima will get hit, um, or just become just like the next Link Karibo and just like, oh, now we have to hit Anima next. Like it seems like Konami is just regretting one all Link ones. So you see here he links into the Dark, which is really good because A gets into the access code play. Even in my deck, Centurions, it actually helps me with Celine to reborn monsters back, spellcast from the graveyard. Um, Super good, but we'll see what he does here.
Pretty good. We'll do Dragoon to do nothing. You can have choice.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to think about that. I'm like, wait, but nope.
Right.
What comes after?
Effect allows me to set a card dimensions gate card in Sujin or Kujin.
No, no, I can't. Yes. No, I was like, oh.
Got it.
Alright.
Thinking.
I will normal summon Sunshine. Yeah. Attempt to go to battle phase. He can in battle
Start if you have
special
a gate guardian
from
monster,
graveyard.
you
No.
pay half your life.
From the
From your hand deck or extra deck, ignore summoning condition, need to do.
Are you reading that? Start from the side you see your graveyard. So that's the gate guardian monster.
Yeah.
And
You can't.
remember I
Attack
used
decoration.
Oh, but Imperm was in that column.
it was in this one, it goes straight down.
SP effect on summon targeting Colossus.
Yes, it is the same column.
So here you can see kind of Caleb banishing the Colossus, which is very important. You definitely don't want him up. You need to search and getting rid of him. He's such a high defense as well, so he's so good. But he's trying to kind of racking his brain on how to get around Dragoon, and it's so interesting how many people forget like can't be targeted, can't be destroyed by card effects, so you just have to kind of overpower it or beat over it, or non-target destroy, or send to the graveyard, not destroy, because can't be destroyed by card effects. But he's kind of figuring like, God, like just. I remember talking with one of my buddies when this card came out, and he's like, I think I'm going to take a break until they take care of this card because it is just free. And this was when, again, Anaconda was around. It's just a free, two monsters. I'm just going to go ahead and make an Omni for nothing and my normal board. So then Anaconda got hit. He did decide to come back into the game. So, but so broken how that card is just so free sometimes. And you do have to run the brick, which, I mean, if you play the game, every time you're going to see the brick in your hand somehow. It's just the way of the game. So you can look at here. Caleb's trying to kind of figure out, how to continue to gain advantage while also getting rid of Dragoon, because Dragoon was used with one Dark Magician. It requires a Dark Magician and one Dragon. So he did use a Dark Magician. Because he used a Dark Magician, Dragoon is allowed to pop and burn them for as many normal monsters used for the material. So he used one Dark Magician, so he is able to just pop one and burn them, which is really strong. He still has the negate. If he negates a card, he also gains that attack. Or not gains that attack, he gains 1,000 attack. So he already becomes 4,000 more difficult to get around. So here Caleb decides to bring back his his monster, and then
Yeah, that's super interesting. Okay, so then,
he negates it with Dragoon, so it doesn't come out. Because I think he was trying to kind of continuous climb and get some monsters, and then maybe make a Selene access code line. I'm not exactly sure, but he kind of does figure out a way around it, which is really funny because I love and hate this next card he plays. I feel like it's really strong, but if you're playing a very tight extra deck, it's just not. I don't like it, kind of takes up a space. But he does decide to come and summon out Typhon, which, you're able to make if your opponent special summons, obviously, with David having more, like 3 fusions. So he decides to bounce back the Dragoon. And I believe Typhon, yeah, I mean, obviously doesn't target, or if he does, we completely missed that. So, yeah, finally got around the Dragoon, but I mean, this is why I love and hate it. After you do the Typhon, obviously monsters with 3,000 more can't activate their effects, but you can't summon anymore. It's kind of like it stunts your opponent to some degree. Now, this is kind of what I like about Thunder Dragons as well. I mean, they can kind of brick, but not really. But the recursion is pretty good. He banished the Colossus, but Thunder Dragons have the capability of just bringing or shuffling things back. I mean, he did draw the Thunder Dragon spell, which is really good. But yeah, he's able to, even though Colossus is banished, he's able to just return it back to the extra deck to make an even a bigger beater. And just so easy. All you need to do is activate a Thunder in your hand, and a Colossus is basically back again. So pretty strong here. He makes the fusion to make, I believe, the Titan, which I really can't remember much of the actual card for Titan. It's been so long as well since I played against him. But he's able to make that Titan by shuffling everything back with the Thunder Dragon fusion. And then he just has to activate one of the Thunder Dragons in his hand, and it's just another free Colossus. So it's pretty good. Looking a little bleak for Caleb, but he heart of the cards, classic Yu-Gi-Oh moment. We'll see if he can out it.
Because of card is just how big a die attack
Buried.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if I can't right now, anyways, because those fucking fun. So his defense is how much?
20.
Well, we'll do Hawk Effect to summon the Dark.
Okay.
Tribute the Dark.
Yep.
And my
Sure.
activate dark back on the page. Or something.
Turn it to make to have make sure I'm not missing stuff. We'll cut at that point because I won't go back in. And then Battlefield is good. We'll have Titan run over.
Sure.
And then we'll run for 25 and 26.
Activate opening the spirit gates. Back to discard one special summon 0/0 from the graveyard.
And the your turn, sir.
Activate
Standby?
Yes.
Main?
Um,
No cards in hand?
No
yes,
cards.
I will go battle. When it's destroyed, what's going to bring out Yubel?
Mag banish your
Normal summon beast. Effect. Additional normal. Bonus effect.
you have a special?
Spirit effect.
Good.
Is that thing?
Okay. And then
Mag effect?
this is a
We'll
leader
go
next step, it's under level 5.
Pain effect.
Now, Nightmare Pain is just the key card for Yubel. It's so powerful. If you leave that card face up, they can just. I mean, the effect of you or your opponent takes the damage you would. is just so good. It has so many effects, but that one being the most just broken. Um, that and the deck can just run super poly like it's nobody's business. I love that. The fusion, if you can, I mean, it's a little trickier, but to get the Yubel, the fusion guy is so good. Just use as many materials as you want, burn them for that many. It's so powerful. Um, if he if Caleb had had a super poly as well, I mean, all the Thunder Dragons, if I remember correctly, I believe are light and dark, but they mix in. I mean, you can make so many super poly targets with that. But having the pain, I was actually watching this. I'm like, oh, I think he's gonna turn this around. Like, just the fact that he has the pain is so crucial. But still, Thunder Dragon, Colossus being on the field kind of limits on what you're able to search and what you're able to do, and Yubel do they need the search to continue on. So
It goes into
Breaker.
chest really well.
We'll go luckily for effect, targeting spirit special. Spirit gates effect to add back.
That store tournament, you need to find
Yeah, just some graveyard destroy that.
Don't get it.
okay.
Basically, it's just this card and.
Does that one do it? Or you need this card?
This does it, and the field spell also does it, but I
And this card is
I
what's
wasn't
on the
activating
field.
the field spell, I was just activating the spell. Doesn't just have to be a flank, it's targeting the cards you control.
You've already got.
Oh, wait, what does that do?
Banish from the grave, destroy that one that's on the field.
Oh, wait, yeah. Yeah, so it's still destroyed, that's still, because it's destroyed, it was used with the next Yubel parent.
I activate this card's effect, and negate its effect.
Dark in the grave? Go
No.
Battle Phase. We'll swing.
Oh, no, that's only target.
Yeah, it has to target. So, no, you're good. Yeah, we get out the parent card anyway.
Main phase 2. I will attempt to
I was like, I can lane for them problems. It's so good. Yeah, I wish I had anything else, but the drop or no, the close over. That would have been all right. I'm like, okay.
What do you have in grade for today?
3 beasts. The dark, anima, 2 lotus, SP Typhon. You know the card in my hand.
Grab one.
For some reason, I thought
Oh, you
it was
have to back.
Which one activates the damage drift from the hit points?
Yeah, the back in the eye of ruin.
That's what I mean. I'm like, what is that?
What happens? This will track that. Since you're activating that effect first, this activates. And negate its effect.
And destroy it. So, when it's destroyed by a card effect or it leaves the field.
It's not being destroyed by an effect.
It has to be when it leaves the field from card effect, I can activate Nightmare Throne, which lets
Bear
me
with me just a second here.
add, basically, it has to be 11, 10, or 12, but I can add it.
Just so you can open more time.
Activate this card's effect to negate it.
That has the targets your cards. So I'll special
That's
summon
what
that.
Because right now I have to attack you, Bill.
And this doesn't have effect on this target your monster, it would just be the non-activated effect.
The problem is keeping it down this.
now this is pretty interesting. I think David knows that. Yep, I can't overpower. I can't beat them down with that pain up. So he actually uses the Colossus and the Titan, which are really big guys, to kind of just get around the board. Because in my opinion, as I was watching this, I was like, yeah, I mean, he can't. He switches to defense. The Yubels just attack the defense and they burn. Not burn, but do the damage. Your opponent takes it instead. So kind of interesting that when I watched this, I was like, what is he doing? Getting rid of the Colossus. It's such a powerful card, and so is Titan. But power against Yubel is just useless. They just they have so much protection from battle, and with pain up, they can inflict that damage back to the opponent. So it's just very powerful that you kind of want to not make so many powerful cards and would rather get rid of the pain as quickly as possible. So he, I believe, if I remember correctly, he starts to go into the access code line. So specials back the SP, and I had to read SP because I was like, "Ooh, does he get to banish?" Like, no, it's only when it's link summon using a fusion material, fusion XYZ synchro or link, then he gets to banish. So I was like, that'd be so cool if you were able to just bring back SP and get the effect to banish again. But he goes into the access code line, and I think here Caleb kind of realizes, okay, access code boosts itself, gets rid of the, I believe he gets rid of the Nightmare Pain. If he doesn't, I laugh. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he doesn't. Nightmare Pain is only useful if Yubel's on the field. So, yeah, he gets rid of the Yubel, attempt to activate, and he had the one of called by, which I think should be at 3. Maxi should also come back to 3. That's just my opinion. But calls by the Yubel, so you can't special summon another Yubel, and then I think he just proceeds to punch over the I think the muck cracker that he has face up. So
We'll find out.
So we'll proceed
Draw
on,
stand mama.
and
That's
we
it.
would attempt to swing in for 33. Unless you got another.
Muckraker when
Oh, that's right. It does just something.
Wait, that didn't be destroyed by battle or card effects.
Right, but
Tribute a fiend instantly. I still take damage though, right? If I triggered itself to.
Yeah, if you triggered it, then it would be.
Great. So I'm gonna attempt
Does
to
it negate the
So
attack,
why is
or
it
does it distribute itself to reduce the damage?
So if a monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, tribute a fiend instead.
Oh yeah, so your damage still occurs, but then it distributes the thing to protect it.
Do you not play Typhon?
Oh no, I did, but I couldn't remember if you had summoned two. I'm like, I knew you had the one, but I couldn't remember what it was prior to.
Right,
So
that turn, yeah, I have the turn prior. I did.
I was like, I don't know if that was the best bet. I could have went freaking Appaloosa, but then that doesn't really solve the problem because then I have to do it multiple times.
And without my, for some reason in my head I was like, oh, wait.
So that concludes game 1, going to David with, I believe, half the time went into round 1 of their game. So I think they're down to only like 20 minutes left. Now, we saw what Thunder Dragons could do going first. I don't think Thunder Dragons do very well going second. I mean, if I were to guess, I would imagine they side in just board breakers, to kind of hopefully set up a big monsters to kind of just attack. But I don't know how well they do going second. So we're definitely hopefully going to see a lot more play from the Yubel side, at least going first and seeing the board that they can make and how scary it can actually be, which it can be. I mean, if you see Yubel setting spell and traps, I mean, you can guarantee it's super poly, and they are 100% fine with using super poly because they can just easily steal your stuff. I mean, they can get Yubel so easily. Throne being an ultra rare, but being like a $30 ultra rare, it's for a reason. That is one of the key starters to the deck. They have so many, in my opinion, starters that if you pop it, I mean, unless they opened up badly, if you pop it, they can kind of just keep going. So it's like, yeah, okay, you pop that, sure. Here's my Samsara, or here's my pain now. And it's like, dang it, like I don't have enough to stop it. So I think for Yubel, and I saw it at the regional and I was playing it as well, like I would rather side in just board breakers. Harpies, Dark Hole, yes, they can still get destroyed and special summon back big ones, but you have to get rid of the pain. Otherwise, it's going to inflict so much pain to you, right? Pun. But we'll see how Caleb is able to set up a board and if David's able to get around it. I mean, it's pretty tough, but if David decided incorrectly, I mean, he might be able to get around it and just take the match. But half the time gone, so we'll see where it goes.
As well.
Set rotation.
I really want the quartz.
Standby.
Thinking.
Agility training. I really want that quartz line.
It's a horrible combination.
I need that.
Main phase.
Yes.
Next turn, he's gonna have a level 7 and pull on board.
Pierce. Start with.
Singing summoning?
I'm sure he'll even give
Effective
you
singing summoning.
5.
Yeah. Sangan. That's why it's closer because Sangan is not the same. So if it has nothing to do with the actual Sangan, yeah. Super weird. Normal summon effect? Yeah.
Go 1-for-1. Sending.
Full combo, you're good.
Send Yubel.
Okay, go for it.
You have time to run this?
Summon those.
I'm fine.
Can we go to battle phase? Battle phase is good.
Good in theory. There's a thing you can do right now though.
Alright, so that's
Special summon.
That's fine.
After red
Okay.
Effective Lotus.
go from your rookie
Okay.
into a rookie
I activate timing to special, right?
Mhm.
Can
And do it.
oh, then specials?
Yeah.
Huh?
Activate.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to resolve all
Never
your
pain.
effects in that chain still, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, he can tap that, do that, if you really want. Just for that one drop. Sometimes that one drop makes a difference.
Fly one.
Grab Chronicle.
Okay.
Yubel effect.
But then he's able to do these effects multiple times.
Activate Chronicle.
Oh, then he can tap his other one for the game.
Attack with Hydra over play. Start of damage step. Attack tag. Yeah, start of damage step.
Yama effect.
The one thing I also like about the Yubel is how they kind of take advantage of the Unchained cards because they're all fiends, so you can kind of use them to link climb into other things. I think they take advantage of. I think it's now I've seen some. So the link that they have out, the Unchained, they also I believe use the red guy. Shavara, him using Shavara to special. Now Shavara only locks you into fiends while he's face up in the monster zone. So, but just bringing one back and then just linking into something else is just so good. I mean, as long as it's a fiend. But with the Unchained, or rather the Yubels, I don't really mind because they're all fiends. Even making the Unchained Rage, I believe it's the blue dog. I just call him that the whole time. Making the blue dog is just so good. I mean, ending on a disruption. Oh, your opponent's going to special summon. I'm going to use that to link off into, my other Unchained, the red dog. But I think Caleb here opts to not go for that line and just pass. I think he decides to, which is fair, continue on with the Appaloosa line, which is still really strong because now that Baron's gone, you either have an option of doing a monster negate or spell and trap negates. And being that a lot of monster effects are necessary, I mean, everyone's kind of ending on Appaloosa, just having that and then more disruption. Because again, the moment you see any Yubel just setting stuff, you can guarantee it's a super poly or something that just shuts your turn down. You know, dimension barrier, debarriers, imperms, something that just stops you altogether. But
Yeah.
No, that's just their effect. Oh, okay, but
On
okay,
a
so
rage.
bring the damage.
Shavar effect.
No, so
After that, they
chain.
cards and chain.
I'm assuming.
So he had
So
to
if
do
I
that
basically
without the
imperm
banned
this after he comes out, or is this all still during
So
damage?
now you can do it
No,
again.
it's not during the damage.
Because then they
Oh, I
realize,
forgot to put the counter on the second
we
spell.
should have
Tap over.
I say that's automatic. Or mandatory.
Effect on him to synchro, which now I can't respond.
Let me just draw half. This is what he's got left
Activation,
after
damage
that
that,
little bit of turn.
Well,
I go Chronicle.
but then if, so you declare the attack.
so long since I
So the reason they declare an attack is because then it's damage that
Some Yubel.
this, because then you can't respond.
Set 1. Go to end phase.
So I think their secondary effects
Special.
be alive.
Oh, what's his say?
Go effective Yubel pop.
Which doesn't go matter right now.
Oh, it's in the graveyard.
Yep.
That's it's just the practice.
I get that.
All right.
So on attack, when you activate the synchro, I still can't engage.
Again,
It's not the
pretty
damage.
straightforward here.
Declaration.
Let's go. Batteryman Solar and effect on summon.
To
Dump a thunder.
Chain, there's chain, right?
Yeah.
only get
Yep.
So then if you declare this, I can negate it.
Yes.
Okay. You're good. So then effective of that?
Dragon Torque effect.
I'm not doing any attack. I'm just attacking.
cards in hand.
That's good. Kill your. So, yeah.
We'll go effect.
And of course it can.
Stop decking.
Red Fusion.
Chain with chamber. Targeting soul.
Okay.
Let's do it. No, I can reveal.
So you see here, David did get through all the Appaloosa negates, and now he has to face down a Rage, the blue dog. But I think he thinks he's still kind of safe because I think Rage targets, and if he doesn't stop Lubellion or use it, he's going to make a Dragoon, which can't be targeted. But, I mean, like I've been preaching, I mean, Yubel having back row is just scary in its of itself. So I think Caleb opts here to not use it because even if he did, the fusion summon still happens with Lubellion, because I think it just requires to shuffle back. He doesn't actually have to use himself or, you know, obviously be on the field for it to resolve. That was one thing that when Branded came out was always frustrating. Like, oh, okay, so if I just do this, it'll stop it? Nope, I can still technically fuse even if you got rid of the fusion. I don't need to use him as the fusion material. So you see here David going for the boss man of Dragoon, which is still really strong. I mean, he used one, so he's able to pop. Can't be targeted. Very, very powerful. So I would feel pretty confident about it. Only thing about that is Super Poly is a card which is just so good. So he is met with that Super Poly pitches, and he just uses, 4. Which this is such a good card. That fusion is so good because it can just use as many as it wants. I mean, and then just burns him for that. And then the fusion itself, I believe, now I've only read it once and I've only played against it once, but it's basically has the effect of pain, even though pain's not even on the field. So here you can see not a whole lot of options for David.
Go to battle. And then what does he do?
Draw.
Yes.
Stand by.
Activity
Main.
actually.
Activate throne. Add.
Oh, and then you think before battle, they're in effect.
Yeah.
Your battle phase? Yep.
Roll to summon. Effect.
I like how they added
That's not even worth continuing. I'll get that one too. So I'm like, well, what can we, yeah, you can do that and that, and then really,
literally all.
I could have drawn anything department. Any other.
So Davis scoops it up, which is fair. I mean, trying to get through that board. That's and that exactly. I mean, just looking at it, sighting in harpies or lightning storms are super played right now. Everyone is kind of on them. I mean, going second decks, tempi. They want to break your board. They don't care if you have monsters. They just want to attack. But lightning storm, harpies, right? At the regional I went to, I even said it. I really wanted to run 3 Raigekis, lightning storms, harpies, just board breakers. And I would have just been fine. The whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, man, if I just had a dark hole here or a Raigeki, like it'd be so good instead of the sides that I was drawing, which is hand traps to try to stop them, which also works. But the problem is if you have hand traps, too many hand traps, which I've seen Tempai happen before. One guy showed me his hand when I was playing him, and I'm like, oh my god, he just drew all hand traps and 2 cosmic cycles. He goes, yeah, I drew everything to stop you, but not any combo pieces, so I had to just pass. I'm like, wow, it was just super strong. That's why I kind of, in my opinion, I guess my next build or deck that I decide to look into, I probably will cite in more just board breakers, just Raigeki, Dark Holes, Harpies. Because if David had drawn a Harpies, he wouldn't have been super polyed. He would have had to deal with just a Rage, which, I mean, is fine in itself, but he wouldn't have to deal with a Pain, and he might have had a better fighting chance. But, I mean, just seeing sighting being so important to the game of you got to kind of choose and pick. Do you want to go stun your opponent and try to stop them from playing and you continue to play, or do you want them to set up and then just break their board? And now with no Omni Negates around, I mean, not no Omni Negates, it's a little tougher to make them now, but now with less Omni Negates with Barone gone, I mean, board breakers, in my opinion, is just so much more powerful. So going into game 3, I believe they not wasted, but burned through almost all their time. I think maybe they have like 3 or 4 minutes left, and in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, 3 or 4 minutes is barely enough time to maybe finish a combo. So we'll see if they are able to finish this up and who's going to be the victor.
No cards can be moved from the graveyard? Yeah. That's what rather just says they can't activate.
Let's try this yield W.
They get any card effect that will move the card in the graveyard to clear from the place. They get any card effect that changes type or attribute to the graveyard.
That's the updated one?
Yeah, here's the card back.
It looks like
to kill you before you
Right, right.
And yeah, then that goes out itself. Sometimes just play something.
Oh, yeah.
I will. He drew half of his deck in one turn.
You sign out and you run.
I did that with some of them too. First, you use it, have one memory, cross one.
Because the effector has to go on the graveyard.
Well, it'll draw 12 cards. It'll
What if
also
it
make
makes me
6.
go attack me? That's why I said my gamble didn't blow out the way the Nibiru was.
Didn't die either though. Like in the shift, you drew the shifter and imperm. Because if I had that, then I would have ended on Colossus. IP would have been
We'll
IP.
do sword and arrow effect. Banishing the
Who are you?
Oh,
Who's the new guy? For like 3 months again.
Preston paid me to come here.
No.
Drew's cheating. He's not making Chaos Angel with the monsters.
What?
He had a level 6 dark and a level 4 light, man. Your
Hey, he's
favorite.
not doing it.
He's not doing it.
Sword effect.
That's good. He's dumping. He's dumping branded cards. I understand.
Chaos Angel loses to everyone's on droplets and imperm now, so.
I used mine. I used this turn. Drop the regain. Oh, he's got fucking beast. He's gonna reset the fucking
Big 3?
Yeah.
So, special the Marvin Buster.
Yep.
Sword mirror.
Yep.
Off the Marvin Buster.
Yep.
The Striker Dragon.
Yep.
Marvin Buster effect to add.
Okay.
Better than camera.
Is it your trap phone or your real phone?
Special.
That's the trap phone.
Okay.
I never use my real phone. It dies too bad. And
Yeah, you're good.
so when I got my phone, I was like, oh cool, can you put the SD? And they're like, oh, they don't do SDs anymore. And I was like, okay, how much space do I have? I'm like, well, it can be uploaded to the cloud now, so I'm like, you have to pay to use the cloud stuff, right? Like, yeah, if you want more space. I'm already paying for the phone. So like that's why I like this one, because you can just do an SD card and then, oh, I want more space? Cool, I'll just buy a bigger SD card.
Oh yeah, that's why they do the cloud shit. Then you have to pay for it. It's on their service. They
Yep,
control
and then that's what they said. He's like, well, you can actually, if you want monthly, you can pay us and we'll extend the storage in the cloud. And I was like, how much would I have to pay a month for that? And I think it was like, I don't know, $20 or something. And I was like, or I could just buy a bigger SD card. I'm like, why'd you? And I'm like, oh, that's why. Just so that they can just make you pay for their services to give you more space. I was like, well, that's dumb.
Man.
I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, with time being so close, I mean, it's good, but I think Caleb plays, because I was standing right next to watching. He's playing Dark Ruler, but with only a few minutes left, that means he's not going to be able to get any damage in. But I mean, how can you play around like a 3 Appaloosa negate? You know, you don't want to waste time trying to get around it and then swing. But I mean, with time being so close, Dark Ruler no more, shuts off Appaloosa, and then he's able to kind of combo with only a few cards left in David's hand. But the time is running so low. I understand, like, totally get why he did it, but it's just such a harsh trade-off. Your opponent takes no damage this turn, so kind of rough, but able to combo off. Let's see if he's able to do something.
Pain.
So it's like 300 cards. All a bunch of blanks, likes to search out siege rhinos.
Oh yeah, I was
Kind of inside. It was like 200 rhinos. Or something. Yeah.
Just doing the gauntlet dragon.
Went like 10 things. Wow. It was bangs. Evolve for reducing life.
Let's go Lincoln with Almirage.
It's nothing announced yet for when it's supposed to come out, except some local stores in Canada are like, hey, we got product, we're selling it up to 15. And so,
Another dark. Dark effect party SP. Or I mean IP.
so then
You can't. It has to switch to many defense modes.
No, it doesn't. That's Celine.
It's lean. I get those confused. Never mind.
You're good. Let's go.
Think about it at the same time.
Yeah, so I did the same thing. Like, that's my defense. Or I remember one time I was saying something that did dark and somebody
In effect.
and I was like, weird. I have to. I'm like, you know. Like, oh my god.
It's one of those things they all do at the same time.
Yeah.
So you just
Doesn't matter if you think it.
I moved here in late June, and I didn't leave my until about 2 months ago.
And Lotus.
If you're looking for
Like an
something,
opening.
you know, nature and all that stuff, I recommend.
Lotus.
Gooseberry.
Spirit.
So many water. Again, I'm showing.
Yeah, showing the loop.
It's a tourist area though. There's also tourist areas. If anyone wants to borrow,
Swing, so you go back and just die.
Also didn't realize because I didn't think I realized how long it was.
Activate.
Well, 15 minutes. Draw for turn.
Yeah.
50
Hoping I can
seconds.
make it, but
All the
Three by there, but yes, we'll go by that clock.
We kind of started like in between.
So we'll go by that 40 seconds.
Yep, so draw.
Yep.
Stand by.
Good.
Yeah, I intended $5 anyways. I'm just gonna get 6 less tax.
What? It pays its game.
Special living near.
Copy vaccine values.
Activating effect on 7.
Two.
To pop 2
That's
cards.
pretty much all my
Island is gonna be damaged.
I don't think so. Unless he can burn you right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Stop the
So you can hear in the background the
See the fist bump.
owner says, "Yep, we have a timer in the background. It's already gone off." They started their game a little earlier, so I'm sure you saw the timer on the phone go off, but they were going to go by the actual turn clock. And David's trying to find a way if he is able to burn. He can't enter battle phase. It's only till the end of phase. And I don't think he can. So it would have been interesting. I don't know. I mean, we always like to play it off, like play it out, like how far could we have gone? How far could I have gone? To potentially win. And it's interesting to see how it would have gone. I mean, he's got so much face-up spells and traps. He's got the Yubel. Anytime he tries to attack, he'll just take the damage. So I don't know what would have happened, but it does end up ending in a draw. And they end up fist pumping, and that's it. Thank you guys for watching round 1 of our locals.